Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Lesson 9 in Save Me a Seat. We are getting started on Chapter 35. Ravi. Ravi, Mrs. Beam says as I drop my card into the basket. My heart is pounding. Have I done something wrong? Amma had offered to write my explanation on the card in her neat handwriting, but I had insisted on doing it myself. Can Mrs. Beam not read what I've written? After talking to Pripa last night, I had been so sure that this assignment would be a proud moment, not just for me, but for my whole family. Now, all my other failures come flooding back like a giant wave. My accent, my math, my English, my manners. It's nice to see you, says Mrs. Beam. We missed you yesterday. You did? I ask. Don't sound so surprised, she laughs. I wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed the cookies your mother made. There's a spice in them that I'm not familiar with. Do you know what it is? I'm sorry, I said softly, bending down my head. It's cumin. Don't apologize, she says. The cookies were delicious. It was all I could do to keep myself from eating the entire box. I was wondering, do you think your mother would be willing to share the recipe for the, what are they called again? Non-cates? I don't know how to say that one. I say, non-cates, she says slowly. Non-cates. That's how you say it. Her pronunciation is perfect. I think about what Miss Frost had told me about stepping on toes and about how assumptions are often wrong. Mrs. Beam, I said softly, my voice quivering a little, my name is not Ravi. It's pronounced Ravi. She looks at me and smiles. I've never noticed before, but her eyes are the color of pistachios. I'm glad you told me, Ravi. Was that better? She asks. I nod my head and smile back at her. It means the sun, I say. As I walk back to my seat, my heart feels lighter. It seems things are finally looking up for me in America. But my gratitude is interrupted when I see Bigfoot at his desk, staring into the empty bowl in front of him. He looks so sad, and I am not selfish enough that I've forgotten about insulting the cartoon or what I saw Dylan Sam Ream take from the little glass dish on Bigfoot's desk. This is my chance to redeem myself for the unkind way I had treated Ramaswamy at Vidya Mandir and for all the toes I have stepped on at Albert Einstein Elementary School as well. My chance to set things right. I reach into my desk and feel around with my fingers until I find what I'm looking for. And then I put it in the pencil box for safekeeping until the moment is right. What do you think it is? Chapter 36. Joe. We are going to play a little guessing game, Mrs. Beam explains. The goal is to match up the objects sitting on the desk with the sentences in the basket. Great. I've only been at school for 15 minutes and my day is already in the toilet. I look at the empty dish. No one is going to be able to match it with the sentence I wrote. Not in a million years. Ravi is busy unwrapping his package. I am curious to see what's inside, so I lean to my left so I can watch him. The brown paper is held on with about 1 million pieces of Scotch tape. When he finally gets it off, there's another layer of newspaper underneath. And under that layer of tinfoil, and a lot more Scotch tape. Before we start, Mrs. Beam tells us, I'd like you all to quietly make your way around the room, familiarizing yourself with the objects on each of the desks. I'll give you a few minutes to do that, and then we'll begin our game. Mrs. Frost always says that the best place to start is at the beginning, so I go over to the first desk in the first row. Amy Yamaguchi brought a teddy bear, or at least I think that's what it is. It's a little hard to tell because it's gray, and it doesn't have any stuffing left in it. Not only that, the face is completely worn off. Whatever it is, it's ancient, and probably doesn't smell too good up close. Some of the other girls brought in stuffed animals too, a girly junk like charm bracelets and flavored chapstick. A lot of the boys picked video games or sports stuff, including Tim O'Toole, whose personal reflection object is his own front tooth. Everybody knows the story. He knocked out his tooth last winter sliding into a goalpost during a hockey game. Even though there was blood gushing out of his mouth, he still managed to score the winning goal, which is how his picture ended up on the front page of the Hamilton Herald, with a caption under it that says, "Plucky local kid just won't quit." I'm about to start walking down the next row of desks when I hear Lucy Mulligan scream. Mrs. Beam goes running over to see what's wrong, and pretty soon there's a big crowd of kids standing around Ravi's desk. This is one of those times when being taller than everybody comes in handy, because I can see right over their heads. Ravi has finally finished unwrapping his package. Sitting on the desk is a glass jar filled with cruddy-looking water, and swimming around in that cruddy-looking water are 3 long, slimy, black... Chapter 37. Ravi. "Leeches," I say as everybody leans closer to see what I have in my jar. "Yesterday, Preep and I took a walk together. Where are we going?" I ask him. "You'll see," he said. Ever since we moved to New Jersey, Prepa has been very quiet. He eats his meals without a word. He goes and sits on the sofa to chew his betel nuts and read his newspapers. But yesterday, as we walked together, he had a lot to say. "What's this I hear about you wanting to quit school?" he asked. "Nobody likes me," I told him. "They think I smell bad." "It doesn't matter what they think. Quitting is not an option." "I know," I said. "Appa told me." "That's because I told your father that same thing when he was a boy, and someday when you have children of your own, you'll tell them that too. Quitting is not an option." "You don't understand," I said. "Nobody does." For a while, we walked in silence. "Did you know that in India, tea has to be plucked by hand, Ravi?" my grandfather said finally. 3 leaves and a bud, right from the very top of the tea bush. The tea pluckers pick the tender shoots and drop them into baskets that hang from their heads. When I was a young man, my first job was to work at the tea plantation. I had to stand in the rain and guard the workers, protecting them from wild animals that might be lurking nearby. "What kind of wild animals?" I asked, but my grandfather didn't answer. Instead, he took me by the hand and led me through the tall grass to the edge of the pond Amma and Purima were always warning me not to go near. "What are we doing here?" I asked. Again, my grandfather didn't answer. He bent his knees and crouched down, careful not to let his veshti touch the muddy ground. I crouched down beside him and watched as he dipped the tea strainer in the water and began dragging it very slowly through the weeds at the edge of the pond. 2 times he pulled the strainer out and we peered in only at dirt and dead leaves, but at the 3rd try his efforts were met with success. 3 long, black, worm-like creatures wiggled in the strainer. "We used to call them Draculas in disguise," Prepa told me. "The tea plantations were infested with them during the monsoon season. They were much larger than these skinny fellows, but these will have to do." "Do for what?" I asked. "Prima told me about your assignment." "The assignment is to find something that represents who I am," I told my grandfather. "Do you think I'm a leech?" Prepa laughed and pulled a small glass jar from his pocket. "Fill this to the top with water," he said, handing it to me. When I had finished filling the jar, he dropped the leeches in, closed the cap, and tightened it. "These leeches are a reminder of who we are and where we've come from, Ravi, and of all the hardships we've endured to get here." I thought about our house in Bangalore and my friends back at Vijayamandir, especially Pramod. I thought about the way things used to be, the way I used to be. "I don't know who I am anymore, Pripa," I told my grandfather. "You are Ravi Suryanian," my grandfather said, putting his arm around me and pulling me up close. "And the Suryanians never give up. We work hard against all odds and believe in ourselves. Who would have thought that I, a small tea plantation owner, would be able to send his son to a fine university and to help bring his whole family to live in America too? But that's what happened." "I miss Bangalore," I said softly. "Me too, but you will have many more opportunities here." It doesn't feel like home, I told him. Give it time, Purippa said, reaching for my hand. Come, Ravi. Amma and Purima are waiting. If we stay out any longer, they think we've been carried off by terrible wind Purima is always complaining about. Everyone in room 506 is crowded around my desk, trying to look at these leeches. The time is right, so I open my pencil box and I take out the blue candy, the one Miss Frost gave to me in the resource room 2 days ago. I put it in my desk and forgot about it until this morning. Now this little blue candy is about to play the starring role in my big plan. I look around to make sure no one is watching. Then I place the candy in the glass dish on Bigfoot's desk. Chapter 38. Joe. I can't believe my eyes. I actually blink a couple times to make sure I'm not seeing things. Is there really a blue peanut M&M sitting in the glass dish on my desk? The answer is yes, but that's weird. And what's weird is that it's not the same one I brought from home. I'm positive. That was a single, and this one is a double. Those are rare, especially the blue ones, which is how I know who put it there.